that you are not living the life that you always dreamed of. My question to you is why? Why aren't you living the life you dream? When I think back on life and so many of the different, it's funny, my mommy and I were talking about this. She is planning on doing some trainings with some of our girls and helping them. It's actually called What I Would Have Done at 19, right? Just some of the different things that she's done and gone through and like really had to power through as a teenage mommy, right? She had me at 16 and she has still gone on to do some pretty incredible things, to say she had all these odds stacked against her. And I love to use her an example, not to like pick on her because she's my mommy and I love her, but because she's such a great example for so many things, and so am I, but I pick on myself all the time. But one of the things that she has always struggled with is imposter syndrome, feeling like just because, she's like, well, I mean, I'm not, some multimillionaire, I'm not some mogul, I'm not, she thinks that she doesn't have a story to tell or a story to share. And I always say, not only is my story her story, because I would not have been able to do any of the things that I've done in my life nearly as well if I didn't have her, but it's her story because she started it. She set the standard. Just thinking about the fact that she was 16 years old and able to raise me in a way that no one in her environment had taught her to do always literally blows my mind all the time. And so I just want to encourage you that if you are one of those people who are living in that feeling of, well, I don't know that I'm good enough, and why would anyone want to listen to me? This is for you. So let's talk about why you aren't living the life that you have always dreamed of. I know that imposter syndrome is a very real thing. Even me, I struggle with that feeling of, why am I the person to share information? Why am I the person to, be like, I hate when people say like guru or things like that. I don't consider myself a guru at all. Let's just be very clear about that. Not at all. And oftentimes, even I feel as though I'm not good enough. I just constantly remind myself of where I have the value, right? But imposter syndrome is a real and true thing. And so if you allow it to creep in, you are essentially robbing the world of something that it may need. And the reason I say that is because you're giving your feelings, you're giving your thoughts, you are given every single thing that you want to do and that you feel passionate about, that you know is going to bring good and amazing to the world. That's in you for a reason. And the reason that people have different passions and different strengths is because every single person has those unique qualities to bring. And so while you may be in the same industry, you may want to be a speaker, you may want to talk about social media, you may want to talk about business systems like I do, you're still going to have different experiences, as am I, that set us apart. And not only that, we're going to appeal to different people, most likely. I just thinking about a lot of the women in our community and the socialite and who follow us, I can always imagine and think on all of the different personalities. And if every single one of them picked up what I was doing, and this is why I say information, you should not be afraid to share information, because there's always going to be something more for you to add on, or something that that you haven't, that someone's going to need you to actually help them implement. There is no loss of information. It is vast. Okay, so when people feel like, oh, I can't share this because of these reasons, don't feel that way. All right, because you're always going to have, when you know what you know, the way only you know it, you're always going to have more information to share in a way that only you authentically can. And so I want to encourage you, Not feeling good enough is one of the biggest dream killers ever. Feeling like imposter syndrome is overwhelming you and taking over you. That's number one. That's number one reason why people aren't living the life that they dreamed. That I see happening within my community and those who comment and interact with us over at the Posh Girls Club on Instagram. Number two, and this is a big one, number two is a fear of other people seeing you and judging you, right? This is big. Like, there's so many people in my real life that I don't talk about what I do. They don't know what I do. They don't know why I do it. And you know why? Because there are people who will come in to disrupt what you were intended to do. There are people who are jealous. There are people who will judge you, and it all has nothing to do with you. It has everything to do with that person and what they have not done for themselves, what that person refuses to get up and do every day and commit to every day. And so they see you start something, and then they see it grow, and then that's when jealousy kicks in, and they're like, oh, who does she think she is? No, the better question is, who do they believe they're not? That is always, and this one is when I can take back to Elle Boogie too, is, she's like, well, what are the people in my life gonna say? What are the people that I've grown up with gonna say? The people that you've grown up with, you have long since outgrown. And so they want to keep you in the same box that they're in. Does that resonate with you? Does that resonate with the fact that people who know you a certain way and they haven't evolved, they expect that you have not evolved either, and they don't want that because they don't want to see you become your greatest self, because they themselves are lacking inside and they feel that they can't achieve that. And you have convinced yourself that you can, and then you start making those moves, and then the next thing you know, you have, and they're still seeing you as the person who was once right alongside them. So fear of others seeing you and judging you, that is my number two reason that you're not living the life that you have dreamed of. And the number three reason, and I would say this might be the biggest one of all, and that is the fear of trying and then failing. But let me tell you something about failure. Failure is, and this is why I love my kids, especially Chrissy in this particular example. This is why I love this kid so much. Just one of the million reasons. I love both of my babies. I'm obsessed with them. This one definitely applies to Chrissy, because Carmelo, he has all knowing, all seeing self-confidence. He says that he doesn't, but he does. He just exudes self-confidence, and I'm so glad for that. Let me tell you about Chrissy. Fear of trying and failing. That fear of failure has followed him for so long, but this kid has so much willpower and strength, and he is obsessed with baseball, and he has been behind in baseball for so many years, because I, as mommy, I just didn't know what to do. I didn't know, I've always had him in baseball, but from what we know now, we consider that daddy ball, where, the dads who know from the beginning what they want their kids to be, they become the coach. They use basically the other kids in daddy ball to let their sons have a team to train with. And if your kid is in baseball and they're little, definitely start them early in the right training. But what I love about my kid is fear of trying and failing just doesn't exist for him. He was hit in the head with a baseball bat about 4 years ago. Probably about 5 or 6 years ago, in fact, now. And the kid, one of the main rules is you don't go in the dugout and swing. Like, you don't swing inside the fence unless you're going, you're at bat. And so this kid swings the bat, full swing, knocks Chrissy in the head. He hits the ground. And literally for a second, like, my mommy and I were sitting there, and neither one of us, I couldn't move, I couldn't breathe. I didn't know if he was gonna get up. I didn't know if he got up, if he was going to talk. Like, I did not know, right? Knocked the kid out. You know, we called, we called 911, had the ambulance come, you know, whole night of that whole deal. Giant, huge lump on his head. I just didn't know. He had a concussion, didn't know what to expect. Didn't know if he was ever going to play baseball again. He's been playing since he's 5. Didn't know if he was ever going to want to pick up another bat. Year goes by. I'm happy with the fact that he's not picking up another bat, but a year goes by and he's like, Mommy, I'm ready to play baseball again. Goes right back out there like nothing ever happened. I mean, this kid inspires me so much. And now, of course, he's a year behind. So if you know baseball, just like any sport, is super highly competitive. It is highly competitive. And he never stopped. He never stopped, and he still never stops. And he's like, if I don't make a team, I'll try out in college. I'm gonna train, and he's got private training every week, and he never gives up. You know, they have these systems in these schools that, especially schools, our school is number 7 in state, I think. And so it's a highly competitive program, but then you've also got the people who've been in that community forever. They've grown up, they know each other, they know each other's kids. And so there's that too. And we moved into this community. So, you know, you're competing against all these things, and the kid never gives up. This is one of the biggest reasons that I believe no matter what he does, he's gonna win, because he doesn't let the fear of what other people think, he doesn't let the fear of him being a year behind everyone else, or a year and a half behind everyone else, or playing daddy ball when they were playing travel ball, things that they knew but we just didn't know. He never let it stop him. He knows what he wants, and I believe the kid's gonna end up in it in some way. And the reason is because he shoots for the stars. He shoots for the stars every single time, and he doesn't care if people laugh. He doesn't care if he goes up, and this is before he started his private training. He would get freaked out with, you know, the new system or the new coaches or whatever, and he didn't let it stop him. He gets up there every single time, and he swings, and he goes hard, and he watches himself back on the videos. I'm not the mommy that's recording just so that I can watch it back. I'm recording because the kid wants to watch himself back, so he can see what he missed, see what he did wrong, see what he did right, and then fix those errors on his own. Most people don't do that, and well, a lot of people don't do that, and they don't do it consistently. So there may be these moments where in their life they're going ahead and they're trying things for like a while, but when it doesn't come together, they give up. We're talking years of not giving up. And then it's that one day where preparation meets opportunity and serendipity happens, okay? Fear of trying and failing. Number 3 reason why people are not living the life that they have dreamed of. The number 3 reason why you may not be living the life that you have dreamed of. Now, I want you to think about some ways of how you can, because I also like to give solutions. I like to look at the other side, right? So think about some ways that you can combat imposter syndrome. That's where we are next. Number 1, or combat, so that you can, things that you can implement so that you can live the life that you dreamed of. That's a better way of saying that, right? Number 1, combat imposter syndrome. This one works really well. And anytime that I have those thoughts and momentarily like forget my stuff and what I've been able to do just based on my own life. And this is not based on anyone else's life. This is based on my life, my circumstances, the things that have happened, the things that I have overcome and bulldozed over that tried to take me out, okay? This is why this is so important for you to do. I do this in my PGC planner sometimes. I use mine also as my journal. There's a lot of writing pages in here, so I will journal a lot in mine just so that I can remember different things throughout the day for myself as well, okay? Combat imposter syndrome by writing a list of your accomplishments and write why you know what you know. So when I started out the PGC, what I did was I wrote down the things that I knew and that I wanted to teach people. Once, you know, my friends talked me into this whole world. PGC was originally for the planners and things like that because I'm such a productivity buff, right? And so that was originally my goal. But it ended up turning into so much more: the coaching, the courses, the ebooks, etc., etc. Well, I wrote my first ebook before I started it, but it went into more of the coaching in the private group in the socialite community, right? I wrote a list of the things that I know. What do I know? What are my accomplishments? What do I do well? What has helped me succeed? And how can I help someone else use that very information? That's something that is very specific only to me. No one else in my industry has done what I've done. A lot of people have come after me to create their bling companies, but there were no crystal phone cases or faceplates or housings when I started doing that. There was only sending your phone to NYC Peach or another company that was out in, I believe, the United Kingdom somewhere, in Europe somewhere. Two companies, one in the US, one outside of the US. You could send your phone to design. I wanted something more. I wanted something more because I was like, I don't want to send my phone. You know, back then it was the sidekick. I'm not sending my sidekick out to some random place. They tried it, right? And so that's what I did. I created something based on a concept of something that existed, but I made it better so that people didn't have to send their phones. I didn't have to worry about someone's phone getting lost, broken, stolen, and I could still make money. And that is what I did. And then went on to design for some of the biggest icons of this decade, right? Almost nearly 2 decades now, biggest icons. No one else has done that. A lot of people have come behind me, try to steal my clients because they're out in LA. A lot of crazy stuff. You would be surprised at the crazy stuff that happens backstage with bling. I can't even believe the industry sometimes. The shade, the thievery that goes on, okay? That's what some of my best photos have freaking watermarks across them. Some of my very best photos have watermarks across them, and they were so old, like over 10 years ago, that I don't even have originals anymore, because who knew Instagram was gonna come around and there'd be that whole thing, but crazy. But still, none of them have come and done what I've done, right? So what I know about business is gonna come from a very different perspective than someone else, okay? All right, so that would be the first thing. Write a list of your accomplishments. Okay. The next one is to write a list of those that you really admire, right? Or know who are doing something similar to what you want to do. And ask yourself, really take a look and say, well, what makes this person more qualified? What makes this person stand out? What makes this person more of an authority than I would be based on what I know in my industry and what I've done? You will be surprised when you really look at when you look at their credentials and you look at your own credentials and what you know based on the industry. It's not a comparison of I'm better than that person. It's just to show yourself that you are as capable. You really are, and that your personality might be better. There's a lot of people that don't work with people in my industry because of their attitudes and the way that they treat people. Plus, for me, I love people, right? I'm a very happy person, and so people are very happy when they're around me, or they're just really annoyed by all my happiness. That's okay. They can go to the non-happy people. I'm okay with that. Okay, like attracts like. Seriously, when you really look at your life and yourself and what you've gone through, like Elle Boogie, I'm like, I don't know any other women or girls who were 16-year-old mommies and did the things you do. I'm sure they exist. I'm sure they do. But I know my mommy. I know her story. I know what she's done. I know what she's been through. I know what she has built. And I know that a lot of women could benefit from that story. And that's why, like I said, we're working on her, what I would tell my 19-year-old self. It's a little series that she's gonna do for, cause she's, all into like, El Boogie is the money person. She does the investments, she does the real estate, like she does the legal, like she damn near should be an attorney for all the legal information she knows and just like absorbs. I'm just mind blown. She knows parenting, rearing children, and just so many different topics that she has mastered and just never done anything with all the information. She legit has files and files and files of things that she's written over 50 something years and hasn't done anything with it. And so her fear and her cripple, the thing that's keeping her from living an even more amazing, dope ass life, is the fact that she considers herself not as much as other people. And that's a childhood thing. We know that, and it's just a matter of getting her out of that box. So look at yourself and see how you are crippling yourself and how you can flip that and really see yourself as the person that you actually are and not the person you're limiting yourself from becoming. Finally, the third thing to combat that act of not living the life that you've dreamed of, this one's easy for me. And this is the one that I always think about, and everything and every level that I want to get to and everything that I want to happen in my life and for my sons' lives. I think about what happens if I never try. And if that isn't the greatest motivator of all time, I don't know what is. I don't know what is. And so I want to encourage you. I want to encourage you in this challenge and moving forward into the next course. As you think about developing and building your coaching business or creating that product and that brand that only you can create, because only you can bring it the way it was meant to be brought. And that's why you have it inside of you, telling you, this is what you want, go get it. Think about what happens if you never try. That's it. It's always my goal to bring you value because I want to see you win. I want to see you take chances and push yourself, drive yourself, and live the life that you always imagined that you could, because you can. That's it. Keep hustling, girls.